Well, hello there! Today on this video, I'm going to show you 6 of the most awesome trails in Zion National Park. These trails have been chosen because they have the most impressive panoramas in Zion National Park, which is a mecca for panorama photographers. The views on these trails are postcard worthy. Amazing viewpoints. They are impressively beautiful, but words fail to do them justice. The first most awesome trail in Zion National Park is the West Rim Trail from Lava Point to the Grotto. Starting from Lava Point, the 17.8-mile hike south on the West Rim Trail to the Grotto shuttle stop in Zion Main Canyon is a wonderful hike, either as a very long day hike or frankly much better as a 2-day backpack. While most of the trail is level or downhill, it is still a long hike and is certainly a strenuous hike. The top-down hike is the best choice as opposed to hiking up the 3,600 feet of elevation gain, not just because it's mostly downhill, although that's a very strong reason. It's also better to opt for the top-down approach because the views along the hike going from north to south begin as somewhat boring on the West Rim scrub, but continuing along with each additional mile hike, the panorama gets better than the previous mile, until near the end of the nearly 18-mile trail, one experiences the dramatic descent down through the white cliffs into beautiful and scenic Zion Canyon. For the hike finale alone, this hike is a true delight and totally worth the effort. This hike can be done in the spring, summer, or fall, but in winter, access to Kanab Terrace Road to Lava Point will most likely be blocked, and this is also possibly a problem in early spring with snowfall. Check with the permit desk in the visitor center for the latest conditions of this road. You should probably plan to do this hike as a backpack, as this hike is on the long side for most hikers. Done as a day hike, although that is an option. For backpackers, a permit will be required, although if done as a day hike, the permit is not necessary. Campsites are reserved when the backpacking permit is issued at the visitor center. You will need to purchase a vendor shuttle ride in order to get to the trailhead because the park does not run a free shuttle on Kanab Terrace Road, and it's a one-way hike down to the grotto. The next most awesome trail in Zion National Park is Angel's Landing. From the grotto, you follow a path up about 1,000 feet over about 2 miles to a point called Scout Lookout, which is a shelf viewpoint which has excellent views of Zion Canyon. You do not need a permit to visit Scout Lookout. Scout Lookout is the entrance to the finger of land that is called Angel's Landing. You hike up a steep scramble for 100 feet or so, and then scramble down 50 feet, but then you have to scramble back up 350 feet to Angel's Landing. The distance from Scout Lookout to Angel's Landing is about half a mile, or slightly less. Overall, it must be said that this scramble/hike is pretty much an adrenaline rush, and that is why there is so much demand for a permit to hike this trail. It should be said that the views on this trail are unforgettable, not for the least reason because your heart is beating so rapidly from fear after experiencing the extreme exposure that this trail has along that last half mile of trail where the chains are there to help stabilize the hikers. The next most awesome trail in Zion National Park is the Watchman Trail. Starting near the Visitor Center and South Campground, the Watchman Trail is a relatively short trail with a round-trip distance of approximately 3 miles. This trail winds up to the east, up the foothills to a viewpoint about 300 feet above the Virgin River. It should be noted that this trail doesn't take you to the top of the Watchman Mountain, which you can see from the Visitor Center. There is no shade along the route, so at the very least one should wear a good hat to protect from the sun and bring water along on the hike. The hike is best done in the spring or fall, or if done in the summer, this trail can be hiked either early in the morning or later in the afternoon to avoid the heat of the midday. Another option would be to hike a different trail in a higher elevation where it's cooler in the summer on a sunny day. This trail can easily be hiked in a couple hours. One can still get a decent view of the beautiful mountain peak to the south and, of course, up Zion Canyon to the north. The viewpoint provides a very nice panoramic view of Zion Valley looking up to the north up the Virgin River. The next most awesome trail is Timber Creek Overlook Trail. Take Interstate 15, located west of Zion about 40 miles, and drive north another 15 miles or so to exit 40. Simply continue on the scenic road to the east, up and around, and to the south about 3 or 4 miles to the end of the paved road. The Kanab Canyons Road is a short scenic drive that gives excellent views of the Finger Canyons, whose ridges lie east to west, displaying the beautiful weathered Navajo sandstone and slick rock that Zion National Park is so well known for. At the end of the road is a parking lot and restroom where you can view some of the canyons across the valley to the east. But to get the absolute best panoramic view of these canyons, take a short half-mile-long trail that starts on the west side of the parking lot. It gains about 100 to 200 feet over the half-mile length of trail. At the end of the sandy and rocky trail to the south, without too much effort or time, there is an excellent view to the east of the Kanab Canyons. Bring your camera and some picnic sandwiches and arrive around an hour before sunset at the end of this trail and take some wonderful pictures. The Navajo Sandstone Canyon ridges turn a rich, deep shade of saturated gold color at sunset. You'll be glad you have your camera. Anybody who can walk without too much difficulty or pain should enjoy this hike. The next most awesome trail in Zion National Park is the East Rim Trail to Cable Mountain. Starting at the east entrance trailhead, the East Rim is a very well-defined sandy trail that heads north into the white Navajo sandstone as it climbs to the top of the East Rim. At sunrise or sunset, it's a special experience. Once the trail bends around and goes a little higher, we start to get some excellent views of Checkerboard Mesa. The trail then goes by the top of a canyon named Jolly Gulch. Watch out for the drop-off at this point, as it is a straight 180-foot drop down to the rocks. After Jolly Gulch, the trail loops around again and gains more elevation. For the next few miles of the hike, the trail heads northwest through some riparian sections of ponderosa pine as it goes across the plateau. Not much further, there is a trail junction. Stay left to continue on the trail to Cable Mountain. At the next junction, a few miles down trail, follow the sign and stay to the right to go to Cable Mountain. From the east trailhead to Cable Mountain, this is an 8.8-mile hike one way. The view from Cable Mountain is excellent. From the archaic hoist at the cliff edge of Cable Mountain, you're looking down about 2,100 feet to Angel's Landing and about 3,600 feet down to Big Bend on the Virgin River in Zion Canyon. The next most awesome trail in Zion National Park is the Canyon Overlook Trail. During your visit, you should drive your car east on Route 9 to go through the Zion Mount Carmel Tunnel and enjoy the scenic drive through the beautiful Navajo sandstone and slick rock of the Upper East Canyon. The Canyon Overlook Trail is an excellent trail in the Upper East Canyon for beautiful scenery and panoramas. The trailhead is at the east end of the tunnel, but because of location, more often than not, especially in the peak season of summer, sometimes the parking is difficult, but usually in the spring or fall you can find a parking spot without too much trouble. The trail is a nice short distance hike that ends at a truly wonderful viewpoint looking westward into the main area of Zion Canyon. If this is your first trip to Zion, this one is a must-do hike. One note of caution, however, while this hike is not a difficult or long hike, there are a few places where a fall off the trail could be dangerous. Young children should be strongly guided safely past these few places where there isn't a rail. Fortunately, with just a little care, it is safe enough that there aren't very many accidents on this trail, and the exposure is no way comparable to the notorious Angel's Landing Trail, where you have extreme exposure almost constantly. If you have a little extra time, there are plenty of opportunities for other side hikes from this area near the trailhead, such as Clear Creek Canyon East, or just scrambling around on the sandstone or slick rock along the trail. The next most awesome trail in Zion National Park is the East Mesa Trail to Observation Point. The East Mesa Trailhead is located in a remote corner of Zion National Park, accessible via dirt roads behind the Zion Ponderosa Resort, east of Zion National Park, roughly 1.65 miles east of the national park border along Route 9. Turn north onto the paved North Fork Road and follow it for 5.3 miles. Then turn left onto the dirt road that heads west under the Zion Ponderosa Gate. Follow the main Pine Angle Road as it heads west and then north towards the trailhead. Follow the well-defined old Jeep Trail west into the park as it wanders through the mostly level forests and meadows of the East Plateau. This road was only dubbed East Mesa Trail in the past few decades. Roughly 2 miles into the hike, the head of Mystery Canyon can be seen to the north. You can also see Echo Canyon further on off to the south, a little off the beaten path to the left. There isn't a sign, but you'll see it as you proceed down the unambiguous trail. The mesa is mostly flat, and the hike is not that far a distance to hike, only about 3.2 miles of easy walking one way to Observation Point. Budget about 4 hours round trip for the hike, depending upon how long you stay at Observation Point and if you bring a picnic along the way to eat your lunch. Remember that all of the land east of Zion National Park border is privately owned by Zion Ponderosa and many other independent owners of lots and cabins. Please don't block any roads, and please be respectful of private property rights to guarantee future access to the park from the East Mesa. And these trails have 6 of the most awesome panoramas in Zion National Park.